Tuesday morning sun, typically a comforting presence, felt harsh, like a spotlight shining on something rotten I couldn't ignore anymore. I'd woken up with that same tight feeling in my gut that had become a daily visitor for months now. It wasn't just the pressure from work, or the nagging sense I was forgetting something. It was the way Jane stared at her phone a little too long, how she recoiled slightly at my touch, and the way small lies began slipping into her words like they belonged there. I tried to dismiss it. Maybe I was imagining things. Maybe the emotional gap between us was just a normal phase of a decade-old marriage. We sat at breakfast, dancing around each other with practiced discomfort. She chattered about some new yoga place opening downtown, eyes glued anywhere but on me. I nodded, pretending to listen, stirring my coffee far too forcefully. Then the mail arrived. A stack of letters thudded onto the counter, mostly the usual bills and advertisements, except for one. It was a simple white envelope, no return address, my name scribbled across the front in rushed, sloppy handwriting. I picked it up, my stomach twisting in anticipation and dread. Probably just more junk, Jane said with a casual wave, not even glancing at it. Her dismissiveness hit me like a slap. The way she didn't even look at it, it felt staged, too effortless. My gut, which had been quietly warning me for months, began to roar. Right there at the table, I opened it. Slowly. Deliberately. Almost like I was bracing myself for something painful. Inside was a photograph. It showed Jane, flushed and smiling, mid-kiss with another man. And it wasn't a peck. This kiss was full of heat and closeness, a kiss with history behind it, with longing and secrets that didn't involve me. The world tilted sideways. My coffee cup slipped from my hand and shattered on the floor. The crash sounded distant, like it came from underwater. Jane froze, the sentence she'd been halfway through vanishing midward. Her eyes widened in alarm, horror written all over her face. She turned pale, almost ghostly. Junk mail? I said, my voice low, each word carved from stone, heavy with pain. I held the photo up for her to see, my hand shaking. The silence that followed was suffocating, punctuated only by the frantic beating of my heart. She didn't try to deny it. Not really. She stammered, tried to form excuses, apologies, words that came out tangled and meaningless. But I wasn't listening. All I could hear was the deafening roar of betrayal. That image, her lips on someone else's, was now seared into my memory. 10 years of love, trust, and shared life reduced to ashes in a single snapshot. Who is he? I asked, barely keeping my voice under control. My fury sat just beneath the surface, ready to explode. She hesitated. Her eyes darted around the room, like she could find an escape route. Then she whispered a name. Daniel. It meant nothing to me. Just some guy, one who'd somehow inserted himself into my wife's life. A man clearly unconcerned with the wreckage he was causing. The fact that he'd allowed this photo to be taken only made the fire inside me burn hotter. Get out. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't need to. It came out low, guttural, thick with quiet fury that surprised even me. She winced, tears filling her eyes. Please, she whispered. Let me explain. I looked at her, the woman I had built a life with, and felt only a cold, hollow void. You explained enough, I said, my tone flat and lifeless. Leave before I say something I can't take back. She grabbed a few things, her hands shaking, her movements jerky. I watched, unmoved, as she slammed the door on her way out. And then silence fell. A silence more crushing than any screaming match could have been. In the days that followed, I was consumed. The fury I'd barely held back erupted into something volcanic. I became obsessed, driven by a need to understand it all. I dug into the betrayal like a man possessed, using my contacts, people I usually kept at arm's length outside of business. It didn't take long. I got a name, a face, and an address. Daniel wasn't a faceless stranger. He was a local real estate agent, young, arrogant, and successful. A walking cliché. The kind of man Jane used to mock. I went to his office. He was sitting at his desk, scrolling on his phone with a bored look. That expression changed the moment I walked in. His eyes widened in alarm. "Daniel," I said, my voice low and tight. I didn't wait for him to speak. I marched straight to his desk and grabbed him by the shirt, yanking him toward me until we were nose to nose. Then I punched him, hard. He flew back, his chair toppling. The fight wasn't clean. It wasn't choreographed. It was messy, violent, fueled by pain and fury. Blow after blow landed, each one unloading months of heartache. He tried to fight back, but he couldn't match my rage. Papers flew. Furniture crashed. The office descended into chaos. When I finally stepped back, panting and soaked in sweat, he lay crumpled on the floor, bloodied, stunned, broken. "Stay the hell away from her," I warned, my voice shaking with rage. "If I ever see you near her again, I'll finish what I started." He whimpered something, "Okay, okay," his fingers trembling as they touched his battered face. But I wasn't finished. I knew where he lived, had learned that when I tracked his office. An upscale apartment complex. I went there next. I waited for hours. When he finally showed up, he froze. His bruised face turned pale when he saw me. I smiled, cold and cruel. "I told you I wasn't done." He reached for his phone. I grabbed it from his hand and smashed it on the pavement. Then I went to work. I hit him again. And again. Kicked him until he collapsed in a shivering heap. All the while, I talked, told him exactly how deep the damage went. I wasn't sure if he heard me. Didn't matter. I needed to say it. I wanted him to understand why. When I finally walked away, leaving him gasping on the ground, I knew I wasn't finished yet. Next came Jane. I called her family. I contacted her coworkers. Anyone who had ever known her. I made sure everyone was aware of what she'd done. Her reputation wasn't my concern. The fallout didn't matter. I just wanted to dismantle the lies she'd wrapped our life in. A week later, she appeared at my door. She looked wrecked. Red-eyed, worn down, the arrogance she once carried completely stripped away. She begged for forgiveness. I felt nothing. No satisfaction. No vindication. Just emptiness. I didn't let her in. "Go," I told her. "Don't come back." The next few weeks blurred together, legal meetings, dividing what we had, untangling what we built. The pain lingered, a dull ache in my chest. But the fury had passed. In its place was a quiet kind of peace. A reluctant acceptance. This was how it had to end. I never spoke to Jane again. The road ahead was unclear, but for the first time in a long time, I was walking it alone, free from deception, free from lies.